Hello there everybody, my name is Adam Clery, and you're right, something is different about this week's episode of NXT Ups and Downs. I've grown a moustache. No, not really, I'm of course broadcasting live from Clery Towers here in the glorious People's Republic of Newcastle upon Tyne, England, and not What Culture Towers because, well, you know why, the world is just having a bit of a moment. But as we've already said on What Culture, the content will continue during these trying times, and all the regular stuff you've expected from the channels across the years you can still expect to get. Loads of it we just have a backlog of anyway, but What Culture have very kindly provided us with in-home studio equipment, so you can't get rid of us just because there's all of that. And I know this is all terrible and it's all horrible and I shouldn't really be saying this, but this does have its perks. Although now I guess I'm never ever going to have that BFC thick burger, am I? Shame. So NXT opens this week and we do not get Full Sail University. We do not get that ravenous Full Sail crowd. We do not get those lovely sweeping shots of the arena. We do not get Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix on commentary giving us the usual patter about what's to come. We do not get any of that at all. We instead get a big green screen with a big NXT on it and Tom Phillips and Triple H. And if you cast your minds back to last week, I did say that they're moving to the Performance Centre for Fan Appreciation Night was a fun bit of variety. A change was as good as a rest, I said, and that is a mantra I am going to stick to this week, even if it's not necessarily true. Basically, right, pro wrestling does not get downtime, it does not get an off-season, it does not get any substantial breaks. By and large, they present us with the same product every single week, the same arena, the same setup, the same music, the same commentary team. These things don't change very often and it can get a bit monotonous. That's why we all love it when they have a different set for a pay-per-view, isn't it? Because it's just something a little different, and that's why the Performance Centre really worked last week. And while this was not the Performance Centre, this was not Fan Appreciation Night, it was not anywhere near as good as last week, it was still a change and a bit of variety. And since we might have to put up with this for some time, I'm going to try and find the positives wherever I can. A change was as good as a rest again. Honest, up. And I'll tell you what was genuinely good though. Right, I love the team of Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix. They work brilliantly as a three after some teething problems. Initially, I really enjoy their insights into the matches, even though I make fun of some of the stuff Mauro comes out with. I think he's a great commentator. I think Nigel's one of the best colours in the business. And Beth Phoenix is coming on leaps and bounds every single week. But yet, I tell you what, Triple H is value, isn't he? Value for money. Like you saw him on SmackDown last week where he had a bit of a bone to pick and a bee in his bonnet and a shovel in his back pocket. The man was not happy about that situation and was making it incredibly entertaining as a result. Yeah, Cole, I think I'm the only guy who can get demoted and somehow get busier and all that. And he was doing the camera and he was dead hype, Cole, dead hype. When he does not care, he is incredibly entertaining, and he was a bit part player in this. He was in the background because of the way the show was structured, but I thought he was really funny when he did get the chance. He absolutely rinsed Tom Phillips. He stuck that boy's head in a toilet and pressed flush. Up. Now onto the show itself. There were no in-ring matches. There was no actual progression of NXT as a television product in a sense. Like there obviously was interviews which are going to further the feuds, yada yada yada, but it wasn't a wrestling show really by any stretch of the imagination. And the bulk of it centered around the story of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. It went all the way back to the meeting in the Performance Centre for the very first time and then brought us to right here where we are now. And there are three very important points I want to make about this. Spoiler alert, they're all getting ups. And the first point, probably the most important point, right, is they told the whole story here. It ended up being like, what? Well over an hour of the show, I think, with the adverts. Well over an hour, just going back through their entire history, the ups, the downs, every single thing about it. And you know what it is? You forget, don't you? It's such a smear. It's been going on for so long and there's been so much of it. You forget how great a story this is. Just every little thing about it, like they go all the way back to the Performance Centre where they have the tryout at the same time and one of them gets through and the other one doesn't, but then eventually they get put together, they get paired as a tag team, they start working. From there, they go on a little bit of a tear, they get themselves that title shot, they lose that first title shot, which sows those seeds of doubt, but eventually they recover, they come back, they beat the Revival for those tag team titles in New York, then they go on to defend them, in the process having some of the greatest tag team matches ever seen. seen in NXT or WWE or anywhere for that matter. They put on multiple Match of the Year contenders. They are regularly regarded as one of the best tag teams in the world, and then eventually they come up against the Authors of Pain and they cannot withstand their power. They lose the titles to them immediately, and then they fail to get them back in that ladder match, that brilliant ladder match, which of course leads to Ciampa turning on Gargano, and then from there we get these matches between the pair of them. It's just, it goes on and on and on and on, and there's the injury to Ciampa. We have to put it all on the back burner. We get the last man standing match before that, though. We get the unsanctioned match. Johnny has to quit. All of this story is just brilliant. And then they start to make peace with each other, but Ciampa has to go away for the injury, then he comes back and they put DIY back together yet again, and then it's all going well, and then Gargano costs Ciampa and he turns on him, mirroring what happened to him in the first place, and now here we are, and they're going to have another match. Like, I can't believe I did all that in one take, but that is the depth of this story. It's been going on for that long. It's one of the most compelling stories in pro wrestling. It's an up. And yeah, alright, I'm the man who has said repeatedly and time again that both these men need to move away from this feud because it's going to come to define them. They don't know how long their careers are going to be. This could be all people remember of them. Like, think of your favourite now retired wrestler. I bet they have a litany of great feuds and opponents and matches and all of this. Whereas right now, if you think of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, all you think of is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. They're in danger of this being all they ever did. And I've said loads of times, let them move on, let them do something else, etc, etc, etc. But this package has convinced me entirely that there is at least one more match in this. So yeah, well done. And my second point, right, is the only reason this works as such a great story that has been told is because of the two men in it. And as well as you forgetting how good this story is, you genuinely forget how great at telling this story the pair of them are. And yes, admittedly, hello, I am the man who has said I don't really buy them on the mic over the last couple of months. I don't think Ciampa's really sold me as this face. His popularity always seemed weird. He came off as a dork when he should have been coming off as intimidating. And then Gargano's heel turn, I thought he didn't really work on the mic as a heel either. His promos are kind of lame and a bit formulaic and say Mamma Mia now, Mauro and all that. It's not really worked for me. But in this admittedly heavily edited video package, the way they get to tell the whole story from start to finish, and it goes up and down, and they've got the peaks and troughs and the highs and lows of all the emotion, I thought the pair of them absolutely crushed it. Like, some of the nuance in this is absolutely brilliant. The way they're telling the story, they feel like they're in that exact moment. Like, they speak fondly and warmly of each other at times when they were together, when they were working as a team. And then you can see almost a contrition in Ciampa's actions, how he realizes he made mistakes and how Gargano was pushed to the breaking point. It's just, the pair of them are excellent in this. Absolutely excellent. Up. And I don't want to split hairs on this, but I thought it kind of lost its way right at the end where Gargano was like, and I can see he can't be trusted. The fans are too stupid to see that he can't be trusted. And that's very bad WWE heel storytelling 101. Yeah, the whole thing was good. I'm not gonna do it. And my third and final, is that how you do three? My third and final point in all of this, the thing that makes the whole thing work together, right, is you forget how good the story is, you forget how good these two are at telling that story. I tell you what else you forget, because there's been so many of them, you forget how good some of these matches are. And fair play to this documentary, by the way, because it would have been very easy to just throw a little bit of DIY in and then just focus on the feud they had, but it puts so much emphasis, so much weight on the journey they went on together to even get to that point. It shows us part of their tryout, which is class, but it showed us that Cruiserweight Classic match, the first time they ever got in the ring on the opposite side against each other in WWE, and it's just, you forget how good that match is as well, and you forget, everybody remembers them winning the tag team titles, you forget how good that match was when they didn't win the tag team titles. It really does put a focus on so much of it. Like, if NXT has to stop tomorrow, God forbid, let's say NXT stops tomorrow, and one of the videos I get assigned is, Adam, can you just do the 10 greatest NXT matches ever? I will sit on this sofa and I will do that list for you, and out of those 10, how many do you think will include the names Tommaso Ciampa and or Johnny Gargano? It'll nearly be half, I think. Close. So yes, purely as a reminder of just how good some of those matches were, and because they put a few minutes uninterrupted of them in there as well, which is a very nice treat, I am going to give the matches, the refresher themselves, that gets another up. Purely because I'm almost certainly going to watch that Cruiserweight Classic match a little bit later on. So, right, listen, okay, I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation here, as I'm sure you are at home, and I know I'm not supposed to say this, but part of me is kind of enjoying this. I get to sit on this lovely sofa and I get to do all the things from the comfort of my own home, and nobody's going to be knocking on the door telling me I'm taking up too much studio time. I'm not going to be in that studio, which is so hot and suffocating and possibly the worst place on earth to try and record a video. I can do it on my sofa. With him, it's genuinely quite... Yes, not from you. It's genuinely quite enjoyable. But while I am going to be accentuating the positive as much as humanly possible in the coming weeks, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect this opening hour and a bit, because it was the opening hour and a bit. Like, right, first off, this should just be a network special at some point if USA will let them have it. But bear in mind, this was a 2-hour NXT show in which they're trying to keep the momentum going for everything happening in NXT. This had too much airtime. I enjoyed it, I will watch it back, but it was too long. You've got a title picture, you've got 2 title pictures, you've got 3, you've got 4 title pictures around this, as well as other feuds going on, and it all kind of got crammed in a bit towards the end. And yes, that might just be the theme going forward. We're almost certainly going to get Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte in a similar capacity next week, but you need to find that balance, you need to strike it a little bit better, so the amount of time it got, I'm sorry, I am splitting hairs, that gets it down. And after that, we move on to Finn Balor. We get something of a bit of a context of his entire time in NXT. It's nowhere near the kind of depth and the level that the Ciampa Gargano one was, but it's been missing. Like, Balor's had a few little sit-down pieces, he's had a few times where he gets in the ring, and he's done a few bits here and there, but just this idea that he was the guy who was in NXT and everything he accomplished and how he lost his hunger, how he lost his fight, it kind of got lost in all of this. And this package goes to lengths to try and sort of explain that for you, about how he went to the main roster and yeah, he stopped winning, he stopped being as successful, he never again reached the heights he did when he won the Universal title at SummerSlam that time. He never got there again, but even when he was getting beat, even when he was far lower down the card, everybody they were putting him with was suddenly having the best matches of their career. Like, he mentions Corbin, he mentions Lashley, he mentions a few other people, and it's just, all of a sudden, for the first time in Finn Balor's time in NXT, you're like, oh yeah, he's kind of right. And using the Brock match is kind of like a, what's the word I want here, as a touchstone, as a jumping off point for how he found that hunger again and realised he needed to go back to NXT, it's just not an avenue they've explored before. It was really interesting. And just like Ciampa and just like Gargano, I have not been wholly convinced by Finn Balor's time on the mic in NXT. And yet in this promo package, in this video segment, he was intimidating. He was believable. He was the character he's been trying to present, finally realised. And it's a shame that it takes these edited packages to do it, but when they come along, my word, are they exceptional. That bit where they kill the music entirely, and it's just him. It's just Finn Balor talking down the camera. It was some of the best work I've seen him do the entire time he's been in NXT. I love this. It was an up. And your main event, I'm not too old for that, of the evening was Rhea Ripley and her journey to get to a WrestleMania match with Charlotte. And much like Ciampa and Gargano, it went all the way back to her arriving in the company for the first time, that first ever Mae Young Classic. And seeing that version of Rhea Ripley, knowing who she is now, this like, my birthday, with the look she's got and the attitude she's got, seeing that version of it in effectively like gym shorts and long blonde hair and a big smile on her face, that has been some 3 years. And again, this is another story that's got forgotten about in all this. This smiley, cheery, just happy to be there competitor in that first Mae Young Classic, right up until the woman who was going to go toe-to-toe with Charlotte in WrestleMania. The biggest ass kicker in WWE's entire women's division. It's just such an extraordinary journey. And if you look back, it's not like Mario there, if you look back across those last 3 years of her time in this company, the way they have booked her has been precision focused. It has been so well executed. They have not missed a single step with any of it. Like, seeing her evolve in the second year of the Mae Young Classic was a masterstroke. Having her get as far as she did in that to build a rivalry with Toni Storm was a genius idea. And then what do you get from there? You get the NXT UK Women's Championship, where she won that for the first time, and that builds that rivalry again. And then she moves into NXT from there, and it's just been so well done. Like, you get the Survivor Series, and she gets those wins over Sasha and over Bayley and over Charlotte. And then it's just, honestly, man, this company gets such pelters for how badly and inconsistently they book people. Rightly so, in my mind, but just look at the work they've done with Rhea Ripley. And it all comes down to that one line she says at the end: the venue for WrestleMania may have changed, but the result will not. And they've got an uphill task, man. They've got such an uphill task to convince us to care about whatever WrestleMania ends up being. This time yesterday, it was just on the Sunday. It was going to go ahead as planned. And then today we get up and they're going to do 2 shows across the Saturday and the Sunday. Whatever it ends up being, they have an uphill task to make us care about it. And in Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, they have a match that I will watch regardless of the circumstances. That was a really good video package. Again, just remind you how far Ripley's come. That gets an up 2. And that was it. That was the entire show. We get back to Tom Phillips and Triple H. And Triple H says something along the lines of, WrestleMania, you've never going to have seen anything like that in your entire life. It's going to be one to remember. It's going to be a show you're never going to forget. And do you know what it is, right? If I had my sparkly jacket and I had my sunglasses, I would do an entire brand new original segment that I'm calling, it's nothing like what Simon Miller does, Nobody Talks Like That. Because, yeah, that's the circumstances, and nobody is trying to kid anybody else that WrestleMania is going to be WrestleMania. Anyway, depending on what happens with NXT next week, I might start doing Nobody Talks Like That. That would get us all through, wouldn't it? Maybe. Anyway, I don't know. Let me know what you made of NXT. And indeed, please let me know how you all are doing wherever you are in the world in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am in isolation here. I am all alone in my flat. I have been all alone since the weekend, pretty much. It's getting a bit long. So here's my Twitter address, @AdamCleary. You can get the entire rest of the What Culture Wrestling family. Everybody, we need to connect a little more. So if you've got any fun stuff, any nice stuff, any fond NXT memories, any cool opinions you want to share, I'm available over there. I would dearly like to hear from all of you. And finally, Carl's Jr. did tweet me about the BFC burger, but I don't think they quite realise what's going on. So if you need a project over the next couple of days, get Carl's Jr. to send me a thick burger, please. That's a campaign we can all get behind. It'll warm the heart and indeed probably give me heartburn. Anyway, of course, that has been NXT Ups and Downs. This has been my flat. I hope you have enjoyed the little insight into my world as I give you a little insight into the wrestling. I've, as always, been Adam Cleary. Hashtag on Thursdays, we wear yellow. Thank you for joining us. Please stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye.